If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatic Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Alrighty, welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. Jake and I have 4 Milwaukee Bucks games and 2 Wisconsin Badger games to welcome Mike in to discuss, to recap before we get out of the show today. So we're going to start, before we do anything basketball related, I just want to say, be sure to tune in next Tuesday. Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, Jake and I are doing our 2026 Milwaukee Brewers primer. Last night we spent, I don't know, like an hour and a half planning it out. How we're gonna structure it, what we're all gonna cover. It's gonna be extensive. It's gonna be informative. It's gonna have a lot of thought put into it. A lot of discussion on some of the common things that are going to be brought up, some of the common questions, some of the common concerns, all of that. It's going to have so much stuff in it, and it's going to be good information. It's going to get you ready for the Brewers season. Jake and I were talking, and it's like, man, I'm ready for baseball season. So we're about 2 weeks away from tomorrow is opening day. So Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, same places that we're live right now. Tune in and get ready for Milwaukee Brewers season with us. All right. That said, we're going to jump into the Bucks, and we're going to start with last Wednesday against the Hawks. Jake, what did you take away from Bucks and Hawks?
Yeah, second game, Giannis is back. So we're thinking, all right, maybe we bring Giannis back versus Celtics, let him knock some rust off, have a day off. We'll see how that knee's feeling, and then right back to it versus Atlanta, try to start another win streak here. And that's just not what happened. Obviously, everybody knows what happened last week. So for the games where the Bucks kind of got, all right, not kind of, I'm just going to be blunt about it. The Bucks got their ass whooped. They got smacked around a little bit. There's some common themes in these games. So I'm going to talk about it real quick. I got 3 positives, 3 negatives. So I'll start with the negatives, then I'll go into the positives. I was going to start positives first, but so the 3 negatives, there was poor 3-point shooting on the part of Ryan Rolland, who was 2 for 7. AJ Green 1 for 6, and Cam Thomas 1 for 5. That's combined 4 for 18. That really just, when you have those 3 guys, those are the 3 guys that the Bucks really rely on to spread the floor and hit 3-point shots. I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, Miles Turner, you got in there as well, but
Bobby Portis too.
Bobby Portis too. But Portis and Miles Turner, you combine them, they were 5 for 11, so they were super efficient behind the 3-point line, so they were good. Especially from the big man standpoint, if you wanted to talk about them playing in the front court, they stretched the floor from their spots. Rollins, Green, and Thomas did not do that. Thomas and Green have really been on the struggle bus for a little while here from the 3-point line, and it's tough to watch. The third quarter was that was tough. That was really where the Bucks lost this game. They lost the quarter 32-18, and the Bucks, honestly, just mentally, they just never recovered from that, and it was tough to watch, man. That was a hard watch. Ball stopped moving. I'll get into some of that with some of the positives here. 3 Hawks scored 20 points in this one. All 5 starters had at least 14 points. The lowest scorer of the starters was Dyson Daniels at 14. You can't let every starter just go off and be efficient from the floor. Dustin Mack is talking about Bam is still overrated. Hey, he may be, but we gotta let the guy have his moment. He scored 80 fucking points, dude. Like, he scored 83 points, dude.
Yeah. I think it's funny that people are like, oh, it's not that hard. And it's like, dude, just do the amount of running that he did in that game.
Seriously. And One last thing I'll say is people want to talk about his free throws. Bro, some of the standstill photos I saw from that game where they were triple teaming him, clearly fouls. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the Bucks. The thing that allowed the Hawks to be super efficient. Sorry, I got to turn my volume off of my phone here. The thing that allowed the Hawks to be so efficient is they were just getting dribble drive penetration all night, and the Bucks just couldn't do anything to stop it. They don't have the defenders to stop it. So when you're adding in being inefficient from the three-point line, ball stops moving in the third quarter, and you're allowing just dribble drive penetration all day for driving kicks and finishing at the rim, that's just a recipe for disaster, and that's what the final score looked like, right? So let's go to some positives. I thought that Giannis and Kuz were super efficient from the floor. Giannis, 24 points on 15 shots, 10 of 15 overall. Kuzma coming off the bench, he played 22 minutes. He had 16 points of 7 of 8 from the field. Just very good games from both of them. Kuzma had a pretty good week overall, to be honest with you.
I agree.
6 players scored in double figures for the Bucks. Thomas had 11. Kuzma had 16. Bobby Portis 13. Rollins had 13. Jiang had 14. And Giannis had 24. So there's your 6 players scoring in double digits. Usually when you have that many people scoring in double figures like that, it bodes well for you. And then Rollins did have 12 assists. So I was hard on him with his three-point shooting, but he did have 12 assists. He was the main guy trying to move the ball. I thought he did better after we were kind of ragging on him last week. We call him a combo guard, and this is the positive end of that combo guard. So 12 assists, he had 8 rebounds as well. So he rebounds well for his position. He passed the ball well, but the third quarter, the ball kind of got stuck, and it allowed the Hawks to go on a big-time run that they carried all the way to the final whistle.
Yeah. Dustin said that Jalen Johnson is going to be a stud for years to come.
Yes, he is.
Absolutely. When we discussed, any teams we would consider trading Giannis to, we talked about if they're going to trade him to the Hawks, that Jalen Johnson is going to be the main piece of that. Jalen Johnson's fantastic and a Wisconsin native, so love that. Looking at the first quarter, I'm calling him Ooze just because it's fun to say Ooze and Kuz. So I wrote Ooze, Kuz, and Giannis got the Bucks off to a good start. The 3 of them combined 12 of 14, 3 of 3 from the three-point line for 27 points in the first quarter, and the Bucks had 11 assists, and 6 of them were by Ryan Rollins.
Yeah.
Dustin said Ryan's going to be an up-and-coming star. I have thoughts on that, but we'll get to that. I do think that it does seem that the night off on Monday against the Celtics helped Kyle Kuzma. He scored 16 points in 21 minutes. Ryan Rollins only scored 13 points. Like Jake said, he was part of the guys that not great from the three-point line. He was 4 for 11 from the field, but I've been pretty critical of him on his assist-to-turnover ratio, and he did a really good job facilitating against the Hawks. For him to go 12 assists, only 1 turnover is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not expecting it every game. I've kind of said that I'd like him to be around the 2.5 to 3 assists per turnover area. So if he's averaging something like 5 or 6 assists and 2 turnovers, I'm going to be okay with that. We'll have some discussions in other games when we get to that point. But like Jake said, he had 8 rebounds and then 3 steals also. 15 turnovers for the team for the game isn't terrible. It's right at the tippy top of where I'd like them to be. As far as any gray area goes, once you get over 15, it's just bad. And that's if they're playing faster. If you're going to play slow, you have to take care of the ball even more. The Bucks are in the bottom third in the NBA in pace, so you have to take care of the ball.
Yep.
That's if you're playing a top 5, top 10 NBA pace, you can afford to turn the ball over a little bit because you're going to have more possessions to score, more chances to score.
Yeah.
When you're a slower team, your possessions become that much more important.
Look at Wisconsin.
So 15 turnovers is meh, but the Hawks were very efficient, scoring 26 points off of those 15 turnovers.
Yeah.
Then you look at the Bucks scoring 38 and 33 in the first half. That's great. 18 points in the third quarter, like Jake said, 24 points in the fourth quarter to have a 42-point second half. It's kind of like the Bulls game, just not as drastic. It's, 42 points in the second half after dropping 71 points in the first half. It's a tough look.
Yep.
Then you look at the assists by quarter. In the first quarter, like I mentioned, 11 assists. Second quarter, 7 assists. That's still good. If you have 28 assists in a game, I'm happy with that. That's fine. Third quarter, 5. Fourth quarter, 4. Justin, thanks for popping in. I will say a guy who's been a friend of the show for a long time, kind of like almost since it started, because he started doing stuff at the same time. Brandon Snide, he puts out some great content. He's a really good guy. He said something, when the Bucks struggle, a lot of guys go into ISO mode, and I agree with that. I agree with what he's saying on that. He said go into the get your teammate going, get your teammate going mode. They need to, and this is something that, again, like we talked about with ball movement with Trage, ball movement wins at every level, and getting into isolation basketball is almost never going to be the solution to getting out of the hole you're in. There needs to be an orchestrated, like, intentional mindset to, like, hey, how can I help my teammates put the ball in the basket versus I need to put the ball in the basket. Now, there are certain guys who have to be the latter, but it's not everybody on every roster. Some rosters might not have any guys like that. Most teams are going to have one guy like that. The Bucks have one guy that can say that. Everybody else should be thinking, how can I help my teammates put the ball in the basket? Giannis is the only player that should be thinking, I need to put the ball in the basket.
100% agree.
Now, defensively, it's tough because they scored 113 points. So I'm hesitant to say that offense is the problem because they held the Boston Celtics to 108 points last week. So they're capable of holding good teams down. We've seen them do it. It's just they can't for 48 minutes do good offense and good defense.
It makes no sense.
And that's why I think the Bucks are where they are. So Trage asked us, it'll be on the Wisconsin Sports on the Go show with Trage tonight, that, is it a personnel problem? Is it a coaching problem? Is it a player problem? And we answered that we think it's kind of a mix. But, when it comes to stuff like that, it's a mix of all of it. You can point to different things, and we've had the conversation too. Like the fire Doc narrative is lazy because there's more to it than that. So it's one of those things where, like I said, 113 points can win the Bucks games because they're capable of holding teams below 110. Mm-hmm. And then we get to the post game, and Doc says that they've changed their defensive scheme 5 times this year. So it's like at that point, I don't know how much of it you really can put on Doc, but I guess I would just look for the stretch that they play the best and just go with that scheme for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. Okay, let's go to the one win from the week. So we got Bucks and Jazz, and Trage asked us this. He's like, are we going to lose to the Jazz? And it's like, no, we're not going to lose to the Jazz. Even if it was close, we'd get to the fourth quarter, and the Jazz coaches would be like, all right, guys, it's time to miss 8 shots in a row. And that's how that would go, because that's where the Jazz are at.
Let me say my line that I wrote in my notebook. I said, this is probably – I haven't watched any Jazz games. This is probably like every Jazz games during the year where they look competitive in the first half, and then they decide in the second half, like, all right, time to mail it in, boys. That's literally what I wrote down. So I'm glad that we have the
green light for everybody. So the Bucks went with a new starting lineup against the Jazz, and it was Ryan Rollins, Ousmane Dieng, Kyle Kuzma, Giannis, and Miles Turner. Doc said it was to intentionally get size into the lineup. He thinks that that's where they were better defensively. And I agree. I think it had good size, good defense. They got off to a good start, rebounding, getting out in transition, and moving the ball. They had 9 first break points in the first quarter out of their 23 points. We've had games where they haven't had 9 fast break points, and they did it in the first quarter against the Jazz. So, again, it's like they're capable, but they just haven't put it together consistently.
Yep.
33 assists to 11 turnovers is great ball movement, but those 11 turnovers gave Jazz opportunities to convert too easily. 20 points off of 11 turnovers is crazy. You're essentially allowing them to score almost every possession. Obviously, some of those are threes, but, even if it was exclusively threes, you're talking 7 out of the 11 possessions that they scored off their turnovers.
Yeah.
That the transition defense has to be fixed. With that big starting lineup, I do think the Bucks rebounded well, but they need to sustain it. And you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, the Bucks only out-rebounded the Jazz 60-59. The thing is yes, the Jazz are a bad team, but you also kind of have to wrap around, like, one of the things that people will say about bad teams is that they're all still professional basketball players. And that bad teams, just because they're bad, aren't bad at everything, because the Jazz are actually 16th in rebounding in the NBA. So they're actually a decent middle-of-the-pack rebounding team. So to out-rebound them 60-59, I think is actually, it's decent. I'm not going to say, like, oh, it's great that they out-rebounded the Jazz by 1. Like, no, it's good. Not great, but it's still, they did it better by having a bigger starting lineup. That's progress. Ooze and Kuz, again, playing well with Giannis. I like seeing that, especially Uzman in the catch-and-shoot game. The chemistry has been widely reported between Ousmane Dieng and Giannis, and I'm hoping that's something that continues for the next 6 or 7 years. With that, he was 4 for 8, 3 for 6 from the three-point line. It felt like all of his threes were catch-and-shoot threes in rhythm, which is great. He actually finished really quietly near a triple-double. He was one of 3 guys that almost had triple-doubles. He had 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists.
Yep.
And then Kyle Kuzma was 6 of 12 from the field. He was 3 of 5 from the three-point line. Also had good two-man game with Giannis. Those two back and forth to each other were both assisting each other a whole bunch. He had 18 points, 5 assists. And in his last 9 games after the Jazz game, he's 20 of 44 on threes. That's 45.5%.
Dude. I wanted to give you credit again because I was like, dude, Tyler called that shit. He's been fucking lighting it up, dude.
I do agree. This was kind of some post-game stuff that came out. I agree with Doc Rivers going with Pete Nance over Cam Thomas in the second half. I do like the size and switchability aspect of it where, like, if you're going with the bigger starting lineup, commit to that game plan. I do like that. And then I do think there's one thing where the Bucks could have helped themselves separate a little bit better. We talked about this, where it's like, okay, the Bucks are playing the Jazz. This is one of those games you want to try to win by 30 to kind of be like, okay, like, the Bucks are serious. Winning by 14 is okay, but the Jazz are a team you should be able to beat by 20, 25, 30 points.
Yep.
And that aspect is free throws. The Jazz were 25 of 29 on their free throws. The Bucks were 16 of 28.
Yeah.
Yikes. That's a big yikes.
Yeah.
So opportunity to improve is definitely at the free throw line. So what did you take away from Saturday?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that we had 3 guys close to triple-doubles. I wanted to talk about how Rollins had 11 rebounds. I mean, that's really good for a guy playing the 1 spot. 8 assists, so he passed the ball well. He still struggled efficiency-wise scoring, but we always talk about we like players that can impact the game in other ways, and we talk about how there's so many ways you can impact the basketball game, and there's so many ways that, like, don't go in the regular box score that people don't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And, just wanted to point out that Rollins is doing the right things. I think the trend of this week was, first of all, got to give Kyle Kuzma his flowers because he played really, really well. Like I said, Giannis returns. Dieng looks like he is for real. Like, I am starting to really understand why Bucks staff is talking the way they are about him. And I actually do believe that he is just scratching the surface. Scratching the surface is 11, 8, and 9, bro. 11, 8, and 9 is scratching the fucking surface, dude. Like, that's scary for other people, I would think.
I can't wait in 2 years when he's like an all-star and people are comparing him to Kevin Durant, and I'll be like, remember when I said that in 2026?
Yeah, he the thing that I think I appreciate about him the most, and I think it's because we haven't really had that on a consistent basis. I mean, Kuzma at times, Giannis obviously, but he competes hard on both ends. He runs the floor hard. He gets to the right spots. I mean, we're going to get into the game that happened last night, but he got his ankles broke last night, but then he got up and he competed hard, for all the minutes that he played. He, even in the next defensive series, he competed hard. So that's something that I'm taking note of. And what's going to make him a fan favorite around here, honestly, is playing both ends, running hard, and doing the right thing. So Kyle Kuzma, I'm glad you mentioned him. I wanted to talk about him too. He was fantastic, 18, 2 of 5. Giannis played 27 minutes, so I've been writing down his minutes since he returned and want to see how much that uptick. So he got to 27 minutes versus Jazz. And then we are such sticklers on ball movement. They showed it before last night's game, so I had to write it down real quick. Ball movement, Dieng to Giannis, 19 passes. Kuzma to Giannis, 15 passes. Giannis to Dieng, 13 passes. Giannis to Kuz, 12 passes. So those three guys really seem to have kind of a Bermuda triangle of something going of long, athletic guys that can finish at the rim. Kuzma and Jang have really showed the ability to stretch the floor. They both hit 3 3-pointers in this game. And Giannis had 53 passes in this game versus the Jazz. He averages 42.4 per game this year. So with him trying to move the ball more, you talked about how he has to be the guy that thinks like, hey, I got to score. I think he tried to lead in a different way in this game. He ended the game with 8 assists, by the way. So good all-around game for him. 27 points on 14 shot attempts. But, you know, he tried to lead with passing the ball and showing ball movement against a team that, you know, is a weaker opponent in the Jazz. But you got to start somewhere, right? So this might have been start of something, but obviously we know what happened the next day.
Right. Yeah, so we can jump into the Magic game, the second of a back-to-back. What did you take away from Sunday?
Yeah, so no Kuzma, no Giannis in this one. I got 3 positives and 3 negatives again. I'll go with my 3 negatives to start out. So the first negative is Paolo and Suggs really ate the Bucks alive in this one. 53 points between the two of them. Paolo went 12 of 16 from the field. Suggs went 7 of 9. So, I mean, that's just insane efficiency from those two guys that were getting up and down in any shot that they really wanted, honestly. Another rough shooting night for Green and Gary Trent Jr. I know you're going to touch base more on Gary Trent Jr., but AJ Green 1 for 8, Gary Trent Jr. 1 for 9. When you're got 2 for 17 for guys who are going to be responsible for making a bunch of 3-point shots, it's a tough way to live. The first and third quarters were just they combined for 30 points. So I wrote down some numbers. Hope you have a bucket next to you. So first quarter, the Bucks had 15 points, 6 of 20 shooting, 2 of 8 from the 3-point line, and had 4 turnovers. In the third quarter, the Bucks also scored 15 points, 5 of 17 from the field. They were 1 for 6 from 3, and they had 3 turnovers. So if you combine those 2 quarters together, 30 points, 11 for 37, 3 of 14 from the 3-point line, and 7 turnovers. That 100% is where the game was lost. Flip it to the other side, where the Orlando Magic were playing. In the first quarter, they had 30 points, so they matched both the quarters in the first quarter. They went 12 of 20 from the field, 3 of 7 from the 3-point line, and had 2 turnovers. In the third quarter, the Orlando Magic had 33 points, 13 of 22 from the field, 4 of 9 from the 3-point line, and 1 turnover. So in total, the Bucks lost the first and third quarter 63-30. The Magic made 25 of 42 compared to 11 of 37. The Magic made 7 of 16 3-pointers compared to 3 of 14. And they had 3 turnovers compared to 7 turnovers. The first and third quarters, and I said there was trends this week, the third quarter was a problem for the Bucks this week. And they just didn't play well enough in those quarters. So now I'll go to my positives. We talked with Trage that the Bucks really lacked playmaking in this game. The guy who was the best playmaker, in my opinion, was Cam Thomas. He had 17 points, 1 rebound, 6 assists. He was 7 of 12 from the field, so pretty efficient scoring. He wasn't really chucking too much. And, you know, the 6 assists show that he was trying to at least be a facilitator. So got to give credit where credit is due.
Yep.
Jericho Sims. Jericho Sims had 10 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. He quite literally finished every shot that he took inside close to the rim, so he's 5 for 5. Can't do better than that. And only played 25 minutes and almost had another double-double. So
he had 4 dunks in 4 minutes to start the second quarter.
He was good. I loved what I saw from Jericho Sims. Yeah. Jericho Sims has been a good player for us this year. Contract and everything considered, he's been a good player for us. No drama, comes in, does his job. Got to give a shout out to Bobby Portis. He had 18 and 10. He was very efficient from the field. 7 of 11, 4 for 5 from deep, and I thought he played with pretty good energy. This was Bobby's 87th double-double of his career, which moved him up to second all-time in NBA history, only behind who my cousin would love me saying this out loud, Detlef Schrempf, who has 106 total double-doubles. So I'm hoping that Bobby can get close to that, maybe get up to 100. I don't think Bobby will be on this roster next year, but I'll still always be a fan of Bobby, for
Yep.
emotional reasons, I'll say. But
Yep.
other than the first and third quarter, I was tough. Dude. It was almost harder for me to write down those numbers than it was to watch the third quarter and first quarter.
The first versus second half numbers don't really paint any prettier of a picture.
Yeah.
Just on the turnovers alone, 9 turnovers in the first half, 8 in the second half. Ryan Rollins had 5 turnovers. He had 3 in the first 3 minutes of the third quarter.
Yeah.
The Magic scored 23 points off of those 17 turnovers, which is not in a great place to be. And then the interesting thing was in the first half, I didn't think they were shooting bad. Like, they were shooting well enough to be in the game. They just need to get more stops. And I think part of that defensive effort is obviously no Giannis, no Kuzma, who are probably the 2 guys you'd have primarily guarding Paolo. It seems like Kuzma is the guy that Doc throws at the other team's best player when they're scoring a lot, as evidenced by throwing him at Booker a couple times last night. But just there needs to be more effort on the defensive rebounds. There's too many times where guys are like looking around and being like, "Are you going to grab the rebound,
dude?"
And it's everybody. It's not even something I can say like it's just this guy doing it. It's just this guy doing it. But I mean, we got to a point where during the Suns game, like AJ Green was like being aggressive and attacking rebounds because it felt like everybody else wanted to watch somebody else grab it. So like, somebody go pad your stats. I don't care. Be selfish. Be the center fielder. Be the shortstop of the defensive rebounds, and just go grab yourself 10 rebounds. Now, with that, the Magic, 10 offensive rebounds, 19 second chance points. Not great. The ball movement was okay. The unfortunate thing is that in the third quarter, like, the Bucks just would not get a single foul call at all, which was frustrating, but it's not anything new. Unfortunately, it's been literally the entire season that's been a problem, so I'm not even going to try to hammer on it anymore. But second of a back-to-back, I'm fine with just like crumpling this one up and throwing it over your shoulder. But we're running out of games to be able to do that.
Yep.
Brings me to last night. And the Bucks, a slower team in the Suns, or they're literally one spot slower if you look at possessions per game. Outscored the Bucks 26-17 in fast break points.
Yeah.
We got outscored by 9 in fast break points on a team that plays basically at the same pace. The Bucks are 26. What's that?
I'm sorry. I feel like a lot of that was Green in the first quarter because he was going nuts in the first quarter. To be fair.
26 assists, 17 turnovers, which the Suns turned into 22 points. Then you look at the Suns, they had 33 assists and 12 turnovers. That's fantastic. And then I'm back to turnovers. So, Dustin, I'm going to be honest. If you're still watching, I disagree with you. I don't believe that Ryan Rollins is a future star. I'm really, really believing that he's kind of at his ceiling. He's going to be top 3 in most improved, and I hope he wins it because that would be cool for him, and I'd be happy for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I also understand that without Kevin Porter Jr., Ryan Rollins has been forced into handling the ball more. And I understand the same when you take Kuzma, Giannis out of the games as well, because those are 2 guys that they use to help bring the ball up the floor. And obviously hindsight is 2020 that we could have used Cole Anthony a little bit in some of this stretch without Kevin Porter Jr. But Ryan's got to stop with the bad turnovers. Like the dribbling and falling down, the leaving your feet to pass, those are bad turnovers. If you are running in transition and you throw a lob towards Giannis that's just a little bit too high and it bounces off the backboard or like something like that, or you're trying to push the ball up and it gets tipped and intercepted, like plays of effort, I can live with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But bad execution and bad decision making, like that's the stuff where it's like I can't handle that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just the come on turnovers, not the like, hey, good idea turnovers. There's 2 very, very different things. Not all turnovers are created equal.
No.
Turnovers of effort or trying to play make, that stuff I can live with. Or if it was like, Ryan's trying to make better passes, or he's trying to put a new dribbling move that'll help him clear space, like trying to grow his game, like even something like that. I could live with that. But just the bad decision making and the bad execution turnovers, like I can't. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to watch, and it's like we know he can be better. But I'm really and I understand he's still young, so like he could get better, but we don't have 2 years to wait for Ryan Rollins to blossom into a good ball handler. We're really at a point where every year with Giannis matters. God knows Sham's going to have 74 rumors that Giannis is going to be traded in those 2 years while we wait for Ryan Rollins to get good at ball handling. So if we're close to a big trade this summer and a team wants Rollins, I'm going to be okay with it.
Just say it.
Miles Turner had a great first half. He had 16 points in the first half. He finished with 22 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 5 for 8 from 3. If we get that version of Miles Turner a little more often next season, we're going to be fine. We're going to be right back where we want to be, in the thick of the East. Fine. Kyle Kuzma. The dude was balling last night.
Bro, you going crazy, bro. I was like, God damn, Kuz.
He's killing in the fast break. He's doing up and under layups and finishing in transition. Hit a buzzer beater 3 to end the first half. He came in the second half still hot. Got himself to 10,000 career points, which is great. Finished with 33 points on 12 of 21. 6 of 10 from the three-point line and 3 out of 4 from the free throw line to go with 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block, and 2 turnovers. That's awesome. That's the version of early in the season when we're like, I'm kind of like 70-30. I don't want to trade Kuzma.
Right.
That's that version of Kuzma that we got last night. Rebounding was even. The Bucks only allowed 6 second chance points, so that's a good thing. And then just the way that we're going, basically the way I'm looking at it is tomorrow the Bucks play the Heat. If they lose that game, I'm in shut it down mode. Mm-hmm. Like if they win tomorrow, then you play Saturday, see if you win that game, and so on. But unless the Bucks go on like a 5 or 6 game winning streak here, like it's time to shut her down and think about next season.
Yep. And
if that's the case, if that ends up being the case, the only thing that I want to watch on offense is 2-man lineups with Ousmane Dieng and Giannis. And that's if Giannis is healthy enough to go. I don't want to keep putting Giannis out there at 80%, watch him twist his ankle and wince for the rest of the game like he's in pain just because he wants to be on the basketball court. Yeah. I understand the competitive nature of it. I appreciate the competitive nature of it. But, dude, there's really not much to gain by playing these last 18 games if that's how you're going to be feeling. So if he's healthy, I want to watch 48 minutes a game of Giannis and Ousmane Dieng playing together, because that's building blocks right there. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Porter Jr., if he's back, he's listed as questionable for tonight, so maybe Kevin Porter Jr. is back. But what'd you take away from last night, and where are we going from tonight?
All right, so yeah, I wanted to talk about Kuzma first. I'm glad you were mentioning it because he went on a run. And this is literally consecutive plays from him where he had a up and under lefty layup. He then bully balled his way in fast break versus 2 players and finished with the right hand. So he's finishing with the left, finishing with the right, and then he hits a fucking bomb at the buzzer. And I was like, somebody stop this man. I was like, God damn, he's going crazy, man. He was going nuts. And like you said, he continued in the third quarter. He was talking shit. He was feeling good. I was like, oh, yeah, dude, I like this version of Kuz.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think they need to feed Kuz more on offense. Because like we've talked about him being a decent playmaker, he's turned into a good shooter. He can finish in the paint. He can finish in transition. Be more aggressive maybe. Maybe the same things we were saying about a John Blackwell for the Badgers, we need to be saying about Kyle Kuzma. I just talked myself into that, but hey, maybe that's an answer that could lead to some more W's that the Bucks desperately could use. Talking about Ousmane Dieng, again, I cannot I cannot clap loud enough, be more proud than the defensive effort and intensity that he showed. He rebounded the ball well. He ended the game with 10 rebounds. He got his ankles broke early in the game by Jalen Green. Jalen Green will do that. He's a very quick player. He's got a good handle. He can shoot. He can dunk over people. He's a good young player. They got I honestly think that they might have got the better end of the deal since looking how the Rockets kind of look sometimes with Durant. Just saying. But, he gets up and he still ends up competing. He challenged Green at the rim when Green was going to dunk on him. After getting his ankles broke and Green missed a dunk, he challenged Devin Booker a bunch of times at the rim. He stopped dribble drive penetration. He was awesome, dude. I am very excited for him for the next couple of years. If nothing else, we're going to get to watch a player develop into what could be a monster, honestly.
Yeah.
He likes that step back jumper. If he gets a little stronger and adds that step back jumper and a little bit of a shoulder bump and a finish at the rim, I see something there. So you mentioned Miles Turner, so I don't need to do that, but I need to mention two things, and then I will say something that I want to say about Giannis. Without Kevin Porter Jr., I 100% agree with you. They have 0 people on this team that can handle ball pressure. And it is so unfair to Giannis to say, well, Giannis can handle it. Giannis has to do everything else. He has to be the best rebounder on his team, the best passer on this team from time to time, the number 1 scorer, finish in the paint. He has to do everything on this team.
Deal with a shit ton of contact.
Everything, dude. The way that we saw Bam Adebayo getting, SA'd last night by the freaking Wizards is the same thing that Giannis deals with every freaking game. And I'm not hearing any word about it because Giannis just fights through it. He's that strong. If you want evidence of how strong Giannis is, literally watch one Bucks game. He makes grown men look tiny.
I still can't wrap my head around the fact that there was an NBA ref that said to Doc Rivers that they're not calling fouls because he's playing through it.
Unbelievable. I have to mention one thing, and this is obviously no Bobby Portis. There's a number of things that happened in this game that made this happen. Not an excuse. The Suns scored 36 bench points, and the Bucks scored 11. That can't happen.
I will say Bobby Portis and Jericho Sims were out. Not that Jericho Sims would have added a big scoring bench, but even if it's 10 points on 6 shots, or Bobby Portis, who when he's coming into the game that he's shooting at least 9 times.
Yes. I'll hear you.
That, but still, to your, it's still not good.
That can't happen. Either no way about it. Can't happen. The thing I want to say about Giannis, to add on to something that you said earlier, is, I said it to you last night that, Giannis has to really, really take a step back and look himself in the mirror and have a talk with himself. Honest to God, Giannis, I love you. I mean, you brought me nothing but joy. You're a great guy off the court. You're funny. You're silly. I love your personality. I love what you do for the community, you and your wife. I love that you love to compete. That's something that I'll always appreciate about you. But if we're going to have discussion about building championship teams, it starts with you, big fella. You're the guy. You're the one that has to lead this ship. And the last couple of years, you've been banged up. Your legs are starting to go. That's what happens to 7-footers is the legs start to go. Look at NBA history. Seriously. So is it really important to you that you win a second NBA title? Or is it more important to you that you play for Team Greece? Let's call a spade here. And I can understand loving your country and wanting to, play for them, but you cannot say in the same breath that you want to win, you want to play for a championship team, you want to win another title, you want to do it in Milwaukee, but then also say, absolutely not, I'm not playing for Team Greece. You have to make a decision on this. You're getting older, you're getting banged up. I think maybe it's time that you let your body rest in the summer. Maybe do a regular off season one of these times. I think that might be good for your legs. And if that's not the solution, there's only one way to find out, my guy. So this needs to happen this year. If you're on the last year of your contract, we're going to go for it. The Bucks have shown nothing but loyalty to you by paying you lots of money that you deserve and trying to put championship level players and bench role players and all this other stuff around you to try to win a title. But when the main guy is going down, what chance do you really have, honestly? So that's just something that Giannis has to think about.
Yeah. All right. So the Bucks play tomorrow at Miami. Then they have another back-to-back this weekend, Saturday at Atlanta, Sunday versus the Pacers at home, and then they play Tuesday against the Cavaliers. It's really, I mean, we kind of already looked at last week as kind of do or die time, and they went 1-3 in the last week. So if they go anything less than 3-1 in the next week, it's time to shut it down and stop giving minutes to guys who are not going to be on this roster next year.
If the Bucks aren't careful, the Badgers are going to have more wins than them at the end of the year.
well, let's bring in Mike and let's have that discussion. So, all right, here we go. All right, so the Badgers won not once but twice in the last week. They absolutely destroyed Maryland at home. And then they won a barn burner in Purdue's barn, 97-93. So we're going to start with Badgers and Maryland. Mike, what did you take away from senior day at Wisconsin against Maryland?
Jake, first off, one hell of a transition going into this. Got to call that out real quick. Another good transition. You guys are talking about turnovers with the Bucks game. Guess what? This is going to be a great transition to this game because there weren't many turnovers, not really at all. So, no, and it was a pretty well-balanced attack on senior day. Shout out again to all the seniors. Nick Boyd, I mean, for his standards, it was fairly quiet for him, but, we still got the job done, won by 30-plus points, so I'm not going to complain one bit. In 31 minutes, he had 13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal, still doing his thing for the most part. So, obviously we did get off to a little bit of a slow start. We started 0-9 from 3. I did get a little skittish within the first 10 minutes of this game and definitely got a little dangerous at one point. But I honestly think our saving grace, especially with this first half, was we didn't commit one single turnover. And if you can take care of the ball, some of that stuff, some of those points will come by itself ultimately. And then, everything else can click if you're not making shots still. So
it's one of those situations where like you don't think about it, but like the Badgers are 0 of 9. And the thing what I thought was Maryland was getting too many offensive rebounds. And those two things are both true. And then Maryland looks up and they're like, how are we only up by 8 points?
Yeah. And then, it still led to a 13-point lead at halftime, 34-21. So obviously credit our defense. 21 points, 45 overall. And then the Badgers only had 58 possessions this game, one call that I wanted to make too. We still got 25 fast break points in those 58 possessions. So I think that's pretty good for the most part because it is in comparison to this season, we've had way more possessions overall. This was a little bit of a slower game. So the fact we were still able to get 25 fast break points between the combination mostly Boyd, Blackwell, Carrington, Rapp too, obviously chipped into this game. I thought it was pretty nice to see for the most part. As far as the other guys, Hayden Jones got 6 minutes, 1 steal. Zach Kinzinger showed some signs for the future in this game. He did get 7 minutes, got a bucket, 2 points, 4 assists in those 7 minutes, which is great to see. And he got 1 steal. So obviously the efficiency with him, can't help but be excited for his future with this team. And I'm sorry, I'm going to take him. I know one of us three was going to probably, but I got to give a shout out to our boy, Isaac Gard. He was able to hit that three ball right on the left wing, right in front of his dad, Coach Gard, that we all love. I think that might be I know I was watching the game on TV. That sounded like the loudest I think the Kohl Center's ever been all year. And I don't think at that point it wasn't necessarily a packed house because a bunch of people left. So, if I would say to all Badger fans too, if you're interested in the Gard family, there is a small documentary on Big Ten Network. It's about 6, 7 minutes.
I was going to ask you.
It's with Isaac Gard and his family, just going over what they've been through, since he got on campus. Talks about, first getting on campus when it was like right after COVID too. Just goes into more details with his family. So just want to give a quick shout out there, but great victory overall on senior day.
Yeah. And honestly, the wings were a huge part of it. It was awesome to see John Blackwell getting downhill. He scored the first 4 points for the Badgers. He made their first 3 from NBA range. got himself some nice mid-range. After the Badgers started 0 for 9 from the three-point line, they made 6 of their next 10 for the rest of the first half. So they still finished 6 of 15 for the first half, which is okay. You boil it down, it's 2 out of 5, it's 40%. That's pretty solid, but obviously starting 0 for 9 is not in a place you want to be, but obviously they maintain their composure. Looking at the first half, John Blackwell had 9 points. Braden Carrington was gifted a steal in transition, got a nice easy bucket, followed by a moonball three-pointer that if they weren't playing in a field house would have scraped the roof of any other normal building. Had a drive-in score with a great seal by Bieliauskas, made another deep three, a transition heat check from Andrew Rohde, almost banked in a buzzer beater. It would have been so awesome if it would have counted. Like just the heat check of all heat checks, and it banks in. Like that would have been amazing for the vibes. But he still had 13 points in the first half, and Andrew Rohde made a 3 in the first half as well. The 3 of them combined for 25 of the Badgers' 34 first half points. So the Wings were doing work.
Yes, sir.
Second half, Blackwell made his first 3 that capped a 9-0 run for the Badgers. He finished with 14 super efficient points. He was 6 of 9 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and 0 turnovers. Good job. Great job, John. Andrew Rohde, he the drop-off pass that he left for Braden Carrington, he's like telling Braden Carrington to follow him, just dribbles the ball on the ground, kind of walks into basically not a screen, but, a little pick, and Carrington follows right behind him, lets one fly and drains it. He made a 3 of his own in the first half, only scored those 3 points, but had 4 rebounds. 4 rebounds, Andrew Rohde. Hell yeah. That's the most that he's had since the Badgers played at Illinois. And 6 assists. That's the most that he's had since Penn State, with 2 steals and 0 turnovers. I would have been fine with him scoring 3 points a game all season if he was doing 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals with no turnovers all year.
Right.
It was the points where I was getting frustrated is when he had like 3 or fewer points and then 0 rebounds and 2 assists. That's where I was like, dude, we need more out of you if you're going to be the starter.
Yep.
But versus Maryland, great. Fantastic. Braden Carrington, get to the second half. He was the first 3 of the second half was a super deep, like logo deep 3-pointer that he hit. He finished with 18 points, 6 of 10 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, made both of his free throws, had 2 rebounds and a steal, and I think he played good on-ball defense as well. So it was great to see literally everyone who was on the floor get involved, and the Badgers just dominating Maryland. So, Jake, what'd you take away from the Bigs?
First of all, I love Braden Carrington. He is just such a vibes player, dude. He's just
Minnesota almost made him quit basketball.
Think
Fuck
about
that state for all kinds of other reasons, up to and including Braden Carrington almost quitting basketball for your fucking basketball team being so trash.
Dude, Wisconsin is the best, dude. All we want to do is just win basketball games, eat some cheese curds, drink some beer, bro. We're just trying to have a good time around here, you know? Minnesota's like all serious all the time. Like
you can't treat them seriously when they've lost like 20 in a row to us, okay? You just can't. I mean,
I don't treat them seriously with anything they do. They just gave us a D tackle from Packers, by the way.
They did, yeah. I was really close to interjecting immediately. Breaking news: Packers signed Javon Hargrave. But
yeah, great signing, by the way. I've been complaining about D tackle depth for a long time, but we're gonna have a lot of time to talk about Packers later. Right now, I'm going to talk about the Badgers, and the 45 points is what's sticking out to me the most. I know I'm supposed to just talk about the big guys here, but the 45 points is just super impressive to me in today's day and age of college basketball, where teams are scoring 100 pretty regularly. Mm-hmm. Now, teams are averaging over 80. The Badgers are one of them, averaging over 80 points per game. Excuse me. And I looked it up. Now, this is from AI, so take it with a grain of salt. But I looked it up, and I said, hey, yo, can you tell me without me having
to actually type AO into your AI?
No, I do talk text with AI.
Hey, Copilot, AO.
AO, I use ChatGPT on my phone. I said, hey, can you tell me the last time the Wisconsin allowed 45 or fewer points? It said November 20th, 2023 versus Virginia Cavaliers, which makes kind of an assist because Virginia kind of sucked on offense. They allowed 41 that day. And then I said, can you tell me the last time they allowed 45 points or less in a Big Ten game, and they said it was against Penn State. So in 2022. So shout out to the Badgers, consistently playing good defense. Love to hear that. And now they play good offense, but didn't need much offense from the big guys this game. I'll start with Austin Rapp, 11 points, 1 rebound. He did have his 3 personal fouls, and he hit 3 3-pointers. That's the most Austin Rapp game of all freaking time, dude. Hey, he makes 50% of his threes, bro. I'm chilling. That is quite literally his responsibility. He competes on defense. He gets some fouls. He scored 11 in 17 minutes. I can't complain. I got no complaints about him, honestly. He just did what he does. Going to Bielowskis, only took 2 shots, did grab 4 rebounds. Yeah, he got a little uptick in minutes this game because of obviously something that happened to Nolan Winter with the rolled ankle. And talking about Nolan Winter, Nolan had 7.6 rebounds, 2 of 4 from the field. Thank God it was nothing worse than a rolled ankle, dude. I felt my soul leave my body for a second because I was really starting to, and I got that feeling back after we talked about the Purdue game. I got that feeling that I just have a weird feeling. This team might be special, man. They got something going, man. Rhodey's starting to hit big time 3-pointers. You know what you got with Boyd. Boyd's gonna be pissed off now. He got left off the first team All Big Ten. Like he's gonna be on a mission. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw John Blackwell's reaction to that.
Yeah.
Did you see his comment on Instagram?
Wasn't it just like a smiley or like a
a laugh face, bro?
Emoji.
Yeah, bro. It's like these boys are out for blood now, dude. Yeah. Good job pissing them off, you dumbasses.
They already felt like they were villains.
Exactly. Now you just validated it. So it's like,
right?
Love that. But I have to talk about Isaac Gard, dude. Just what a fucking moment, dude. Like pump fakes, dad standing right there. I mean, I did watch that documentary where he talked about, where he was introducing the starting lineups and stuff like that. He's wearing a Badgers jersey and his dad's a coach on the team. And like, what a moment, dude. Like I'm getting goosebumps again, man. I am happy for him. That is just a beautiful, beautiful moment. It's what I love about sports the most is just the pure joy that you see in some people when they get to experience it. And just, I couldn't be happier. Gard has never caused any problems, even though his dad's the head coach, so just awesome moment. I was just so happy after that game, honestly.
You could tell that shot that he took. He's probably taken up quite a few threes too at just being a practice guy, man. I look crisp. Yeah. He's going to make a bar league team real happy.
Oh yeah. That's 100% accurate.
I love that thing, dude. I love that so much.
Dude, dude, who cares? He's a 5'11" white kid. Like, yeah, he played at Wisconsin.
He's gonna pull up.
Yeah, he's gonna make every shot he shoots when he goes into a casual gym.
You start looking at all the names that he played with: Johnny Davis, Tanjay, Boyd, Blackwell. You're like, oh, he had to guard those guys in practice. Oh, no wonder he's so good. Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's flip over to Purdue. I would say the more important of the 2 wins because the Badgers got to add another top 15 road win to their resume, which is great for March Madness concerns. With Selection Sunday right around the corner. So, Jake, tell me about the big men from the Purdue game.
Hey, we got to have a discussion, bro. We got to have a discussion. Do we own Purdue on the road?
Shit.
3 out of the last 4? Do we own them on the road, dude?
What were they ranked for those 4, too? They had to all be like 15 and then like 9, 5, and 4.
Dude, they were highly ranked in all those games.
Yeah.
They were ranked number 1 going into this year.
They were ranked number 1. Now, I understand they've been sliding, and this is quite literally the time of year where Matt Painter decides to stop being a fucking basketball coach for some reason. I don't know what the hell goes on with that guy. But the Badgers answered the bell, and Greg Gard knows how to coach in this arena. They should just name it Gard Arena at this point because he owns them there. Bielowski has 16 points, 2 rebounds, and assists. He was 5 for 8 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3. He was shooting with confidence. I was like, "What the hell is this guy, bro? I haven't seen this guy since Michigan, bro."
Yeah.
God damn. And you got Austin Rapp playing with strength, moving the ball, and shooting threes. I was like, what was this the last freaking 3 months, dude? I'm yelling at the TV. I hate Purdue. In basketball, I hate Purdue so much. They just always end up with some guy who's like 7'7", and I'm like, how do you always get these giant son of bitches?
Yeah.
What the hell do you guys do in recruiting, bro? They have that 7'4" kid now. I'm like, oh great, I can't wait to watch this
Jacobson?
guy for 3 years. God damn it, man. But Austin Rapp, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 for 8 from the 3-point line. Again, making 50% of his threes. Love that. Love that so much. I'm very jealous that you guys are going to talk about Boyd and Blackwell because I have so many opinions I want to say about them. But with Will Garlock, 4 minutes, 2 personal fouls, I thought the 4 minutes were good, though. He didn't score. He didn't get a rebound. He did show a little bit of physicality that the Badgers needed in this game. So on top of Rapp and Bielawskis, stretching out the big guys and causing them havoc, which caused switches, which caused fouls for a guy named Kaufman-Wren, just saying, causing those mismatches. He had a tough day for him on senior day. But Will Garlock, I thought, was good in his 4 minutes. But, man, Rapp and Bielawskis, man, cannot say enough about them the way they stepped up without Nolan Winter. I was like, you know what? If they go into Purdue and they lose by like 6 points, I won't be that disappointed without Nolan Winter. Nah, they had other plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep trying to find where Purdue is ranked in those last 4 matchups because I want to know.
15 this last one, but
yeah, I know obviously they were 15 this year, but I'll keep looking to find it. Looking at the wings, John Blackwell, he came out aggressively offensively, which is great to see. And he was guarding Braden Smith. And one thing I will say as far as defense goes, like obviously they gave up 93 points to a good team. When you're playing against somebody who has really good guard play, like Purdue has, you got to hedge higher on those screens. You got to help Blackwell. You got to push him back towards John Blackwell because Blackwell's going to be trailing those screens because you can't go under on shooters like that. So his teammates got to help him out a little bit there. There was a point in the first half where he scored 9 out of the Badgers' 12 points on a run where Wisconsin cut an 8-point lead down to 1. He was making his threes in the first half. He was 3 of 6 on threes in the first half. In the second half, he hit a tough 3 when Purdue used a 9-3 run to take a 1-point lead. He played well for like the entire game until the last couple minutes when he just he had the reins and he's telling the horses to go. And then he's like, all right, here we go. I got us up to speed. Here you go, Nick. You're going to ride us till we get home. And then he handed the reins to Nick Boyd. Blackwell finished 5 of 10 from the 3-point line, 7 of 13 overall, 6 of 7 at the free throw line, 25 very efficient points to go with 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, and 1 steal. Andrew Rohde, he hit an open corner 3 in the first half and an open 3 from the wing in the second half. 6 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers. He did make some very good passes. I think he could have had 1 extra assist or 2. Bielawskis had a shot blocked at the rim on what he turned around and thought he was going to have an open layup, and there was just a dude ready to grab the ball with his teeth when he turned around. So that could have been another assist for Rohde, but it is what it is. He did also make some really bad passes. So he had 3 turnovers and 4 assists. I think he probably should have been more around 5 assists and 2 turnovers, but we're splitting hairs here. Mm-hmm. I will say I don't think this was his best defensive game. There were multiple times where he was guarding Fletcher Lawyer, a guy that I'm so happy that I probably won't ever have to see the Badgers go against again, because not just because like he's like a bad player or anything, or he's like, like dirty or anything like that. I'm just sick of watching him go 6 for 8 on threes every time he plays the Badgers. Sick of it. Get him out of my face. Get him away from me before I start saying naughty words. Tired of Fletcher Lawyer. Get away from me. But there were times where Rohde flew by him, and you just got to close out high with guys like that and contest the shot as best you can, because when he pump fakes and you go flying past him, now he's wide open.
Yeah, Herzog, no flybys.
Yeah, don't do that. Like Pat Connaughton would do it once in a while, and Bucks fans gave him tons of shit for it. It's same concept. Don't fly by shooters, because all it does is make them have to take 1 dribble to their left and shoot wide open. Mm-hmm. Braden Carrington, he made a 3 to give the Badgers a 34-32 lead. Made another one to make the lead 42-38. And then he used his gravity, which is growth this late in the season is good to see. He found Hayden Jones wide open for a layup standing on the block by himself. And he finished with just 8 points on 2 of 5 shooting from the 3-point line, made both of his free throws, but added 5 assists. That tied his career high. He did that once at Tulsa last year. So it's only the second time in his career that he's had 5 assists in 5 seasons. So good for Braden Carrington. The Badgers withstood an early intensity by Purdue and their crowd and their early 8-point lead. Second half, you get a really holy hell foul show for Purdue, which was really frustrating to watch. There was an offensive foul by John Blackwell that I think should have been an and one for the Badgers. And then Purdue got a 1-point lead right after that. So that was annoying. That would have been frustrating if the Badgers would have lost. And then I will say the last thing, the Badgers made 18 3-pointers as a team. That's a new program record. 9 of those 18 threes came from the wings. So great job by the Badgers all around. Mike, what'd you take away from the guards?
Yeah, I'm just going to start by saying this was one hell of a college basketball game. When I look back at this, I mean, I think of it similar to like Michigan, basically. It was just haymakers just being thrown back and forth, back and forth. Both teams were on like had their own 8-10-0 runs too. Both teams responded for the most part. That's just a sign of a healthy, really, really good basketball game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just also just going to say this right away. Coach Gard, you got to give him more credit with how good he is at doing a lot with limited resources. This time it was without a Nolan Winter. And I'm not going to lie, going into this game, I didn't think we had a chance. I thought we could keep it close. I didn't think we could actually win. So kudos to the guard and staff. And scoring 97 freaking points on the road at Mackey, as we know, is a pain in the ass to play in. But lately it's been our home. So anyway, I'm going to start with the first team out conference snub, Nick Boyd, unfortunately. But he had 33 minutes, 23 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 turnovers. You look at this stat line and, you know, it's crazy because he scores the first bucket of the game and then he quietly gets a couple buckets here and there. And then he went a whole 17 minutes and 44 seconds between field goals. That goes into what he was doing in the second half. But his 2 turnovers basically came in the beginning of the game, what Tyler kind of mentioned when Purdue got out to I think it was like a 24-16 lead or something along those lines.
Something like that.
Yeah. And he almost had 3 turnovers right in a row. So he had a rough little stretch there, but he eventually got it together. Thankfully, this was a healthy balance too for the most part. As Tyler was saying, John Blackwell obviously had a good, efficient day, and kind of like what he was referring to, it was more so once the other guys were doing their thing, they were basically passing the torch to Nick Boyd to close this damn thing out. But, you know, I'm going to reiterate this again. This is why you go out and get a transfer like a Nick Boyd who's got so much experience in the month of March. You can tell he wants the ball at the end of games too, or end the shot clock situation should it get to that. We obviously see him and Blackwell taking the reins of that for the most part. But, you know, the clutch moments definitely come to mind too. It wasn't just this Purdue game, but we've seen it, you know, all year, whether he's getting us out of a rut or, you know, or if he's on a heater, he's going to try and get his. But he took over the game. He scored 10 consecutive points under 5 minutes to go. At the end of the day, we had Nick Boyd. Purdue did not. And that's just another reason why to close out this season that, I mean, Nick Boyd should have been first team. I think you could have made a case over Jeremy Fears. I think you could have made a case over Ben Sturtz. I'll give Braden Smith his flowers, but I mean, I think Nick Boyd outdueled him this game. I know he still had a great game, but when you talk about the clutch moments and how much you step up for your team when the game's on the line, I think Nick Boyd, you know, checks all those boxes off. But great closing from Nick Boyd. Hell of a way to end the regular season for him too. I'm glad he's on my team, especially going into the tournament time, because we're going to need him. And there's going to be a lot of moments where we need a bucket when we might be in a little bit of a dry spell, and we're going to have to rely on him. So this is very, very good to see as we go into tournament season. Just to close it out, Hayden Jones did get 7 minutes. Tyler referred to Braden Carrington's nice assist to him when he was right under the bucket. 2 points, 1 turnover, 1 assist, and 1 block. Not too much, but I think this isn't the last of what we will see of Hayden Jones going forward. And let's get to conference tourney season, man. This is a celebration for the sport of basketball coming up here.
Yeah, so I want to get your guys' opinion on this. I know Jake and I already talked about it, but Scary Alvarez said this, and I think I agree with him, that the Badgers are going to be starting the conference tournament tomorrow. USC lost to Washington, so the Badgers get a rematch against Washington, a team that they just destroyed a couple weeks ago. So they will play Washington tomorrow. Scary Alvarez posted this hypothetical that he would want the Badgers to win tomorrow and then lose on Saturday so that they're not gassed for the big March Madness tournament. Mm-hmm. And I think I agree. I will pose this question to both of you as well. And the reason being because Greg Gard has done so many great things. But the literal only thing people have left to complain about is that he hasn't done well in March Madness. That's literally the only reason that people still complain about him. Mm-hmm. Oh, he hasn't. See if he gets out of the first round this year. Yeah, but he's never done anything in March Madness. And yes, I understand that. Let's say the Badgers win the national title this year. They're still going to be like, yeah, well, he's only won 1 national title, and all the other years they were first or second round exits. So there's always going to be people that aren't happy no matter what. But I do think if we look back, because obviously the Badgers have won Big Ten tournaments, they've won Big Ten championships, and you look at it and people don't give a shit. They literally only care about brackets if they can put Wisconsin in their Final Four and it comes true. So, Jake, Mike, whoever wants to say something, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that they should kind of not phone in, but not press as hard to win the Big Ten tournament and focus maybe a little more on March Madness?
Yeah, so originally when we talked about this, I was like, you know what? I can logically think that through and be like, yeah, that makes sense to me. Let them get some rest. But I think it's kind of a team-by-team basis. And if this team feels like they can go into this Big Ten tournament and they can win the thing, I'm like a player's coach personally when I coach. I mean, I've only coached my son and his little buddies. But the thing about basketball that I loved when I coached is like basketball is like an art form. And you get to kind of express yourself in different ways by creating different moves and finding ways to get teammates open and get to the rim and finish. It really is a beautiful game when it's played the right way and it's ethical, right? If this Badgers team thinks that they can go out there and they can prove that they're actually the best team, in this conference, and they want to go and they don't want to win the goddamn thing, I say let them win the goddamn thing. I'm good either way. Either they get more rest or we win the Big Ten tournament and I have a great weekend. Because Sunday's going to suck. The weather's going to be horrible. So maybe the Badgers winning a Big Ten title on Sunday will make it better to be buried in the snow.
Mike, thoughts?
So, Jake, I absolutely love that attitude. I absolutely love that spiel that you just did. That is the art form thing. I love that talk. I think first and foremost, a lot of it's going to come down to the health of Nolan Winter and how they want to approach not just tomorrow, but going into this weekend. That being said, I think you got to win tomorrow. I think you still got to approach this like a normal regular season game. You got to build some sort of juju going into the tournament. I don't want to see a whole one and done thing. Yes, I don't think it's going to help our seeding or anything, but I also wouldn't want to take the chance of losing this game in case it would, for some reason,
turn them into a 6 instead of a 5.
But yeah, and this kind of goes into my next point though too. I feel like after the last 2 seasons where, we won a bunch of games in the tournament, we just didn't, we taken second the last 2 years. It hasn't really benefited us from a seed standpoint, from a location standpoint. Last year, we couldn't even play in freaking Milwaukee as a 3 seed.
Seriously.
That was absolute dog shit. I will forever be complaining. I will be complaining that till I freaking croak at this point. But no, I mean, you just look at it with the success we've had, and we win 3 games year after year, and we have nothing to show for when, the tournament comes around and we get the last game on a Sunday. Next thing you know, we got to be out in Denver playing literally the first game of the tournament at 11 a.m. that Thursday. That does not benefit us whatsoever as far as I'm concerned. And if we don't have a completely healthy team, which we don't, because you cannot convince me Nolan Winter's even going to be healthy 100% even by the tournament. I think you got to win tomorrow That being said, I will be able to sleep at night no matter how we do the rest of the way.
I agree.
I think that's how you approach it. I like Jake's comment about, well, yeah, whatever, like what the team vibes are, how they're feeling, like going into it. Hey, if you boys want to go out and play. But again, as a fan and as a very, very passionate fan who literally, watches every single game from half to half, every single time, I am good with getting a win tomorrow. And, whatever happens the rest of the way. Hypothetically, you win tomorrow, you lose Friday. Well, guess what? You're going to have at least 6 days to get 6 days to get ready for next week, Thursday, in case that's the day we got to play. Which
I need them
to be opposed to, especially
on Friday. I took off of work on Friday. I need them to be on Friday. If you're listening, anybody NCAA committee, they need to play on the 20th. You son of a bitches.
So I did look it up. The Badgers' last 4 games against Purdue, obviously the one that they just won, they were ranked 15th. When they lost in January, Purdue was ranked 5th overall. Yep. Going back to last February when the Badgers beat them, Purdue was ranked 7th. Wisconsin was ranked 16th. And then going back to the previous year, that March, Purdue was ranked number 3. So the 3 out of the 4 that the Badgers have beat Purdue, they were ranked 15, 5, 7, and 3.
Yeah.
Damn. And the Badgers were ranked 16th once.
The other times we were unranked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
There's a case for some ownership there, especially when you're ranked that high. And then you keep
in your
losing
trap, take over your trap.
Goddamn right, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know you see my story. Hell yeah.
I've seen it.
All right. So we'll see what happens with the Badgers tomorrow. So we'll have for sure at least 1 game recap next week, probably 2, maybe more, but we'll see next Wednesday before heading into March Madness. So we'll see what happens. But other than that, we'll have some Bucks games. And then don't forget, next Tuesday night is going to be our Milwaukee Brewers primer. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be I'm so excited for our Brewers primer on Tuesday. So we'll see you guys next Tuesday and Wednesday. Have a good week.
Later, fellas.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.